Back during the first Trump administration, there was some very concerning information that started to swirl inside of domestic intelligence services. It had to do with a critical flaw that was discovered within the U.S. prison system, and if it was left unaddressed, it would start to spiral into chaos and anarchy that would lead to an entire collapse of the way of life as we know it. Now, this was roughly 8 to 10 years ago when this started to be discussed behind closed doors, when they put the problem to AI. AI came up with some very strange outputs that what would accelerate this would be forces from the outside. It wasn't forces from the inside of the prison system that were the problem. It was people on the outside who had lost so much faith in the federal government and our system of justice that any attempt at escaping prison or getting out of someone's sentence, there would be a huge swell of support for anyone who did this, and now we're starting to see it. This led to what you're looking at on the screen, the series of map videos that I did back then, and they were met with a great deal of skepticism because I said out in the middle of the country is going to be the most dangerous place you can ever live, including places like West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee. Why? Because these prisoners, when they escape, are going to be looking to get to places where there is not a lot of law enforcement who is interested in finding them. Now, places like California, Texas, Florida, Virginia, up east, the big states, the states with a lot of money, will have a lot of law enforcement that will be involved in such things. But in the interior of the country, these smaller states with smaller budgets would pretty much just look the other way. Well, guess what? We're there. We're there. One of the phrases that I used in these videos, I said, look, people, you don't understand how tough and hard these guys get after 3, 5, 8 years in prison. You call it shit hits the fan. You call it end of the world. They call it Tuesday. They call it Thursday evening. Their world has already collapsed. They've got nothing to lose. And believe me, we open up the can on this over at the Patreon channel in a way that we're really not allowed to here. Those 2 or 3 videos that I did that took off up around 1 million views probably wouldn't even be allowed today. That they're still out there is a miracle to me. But if you'd like to see a full breakdown of what the real threat is and why it's a real threat, join us over at Patreon. Just put up a brand new video about 2-3 hours ago. And believe me, it's already getting some traction. Over there, we can take the gloves off. Now, there's 4 levels over there. 2, 5, 10, and 15. I made this video for everybody. Any support level over there, from 2 to 15, $2 a month to 15 a month, it's for everyone. Trust me, it's something you're definitely going to want to see. Now, why I'm going to say this, I'm sure a lot of people have heard the news. NOLA police say 11 inmates escaped jail. You see, it's the details. It's the details of the escape that a lot of people are just letting go in one ear and out the other. How many of you knew they had an 8-hour head start? That's right, an 8-hour head start. Nobody even knew they were gone, allegedly, until a shift change 8 hours later. How many of you knew more people have been arrested than escaped for assisting? Already right now, more people have been arrested on the outside for helping them escape than the amount of guys that actually escaped. This is just the beginning. And there's a great video out there I would love to share with you guys. It's from Captain Sinbad. That's the name of the channel, Captain Sinbad. You can Google why prisoners are so ripped and muscular. Now, this is really more about the physical aspects that take place in male prisoners. But the reason number one that he gives speaks a lot more to just the physical aspects of it. Prisoners have a strong motivation to get male prisoners, to get buff, to get strong, to get tough and lean, because it's a matter of survival. The U.S. currently has 1.8 million behind lock and key right now. What's 10% of that? 180,000? Think of the 10%, the worst of the worst. There's 180,000 guys out there that are mean, that are tough, that have nothing to lose, and are looking at a system that can no longer hold them. I'm also going to share this map and ask a question, because it's tied. The vast majority of people being held behind bars are what they would call people of color. The areas you see shaded in purple are percent of black population in the United States by county. Why would most of the blacks in America live in the South if the South is where all of the racists are? I'll ask that again. The South, places like South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, these are areas that are largely known as some of the more racist areas in the country. Why would most of America's blacks live someplace like that? Think about that for just a minute. And I also want to put out a warning to those of you who are already typing about guns, especially ladies. You need to listen to this. These guys that are going to be breaking out of prison, they know how to fashion weapons out of things that are only available in prison. Once they get out into the real world, it's a smorgasbord for them. They can fashion anything into a weapon. And if you get confronted on the street by one of these guys, I guarantee he's going to be a lot faster with whatever shiv he's created than you will be looking for any ballistic weapon you might have on you, tucked away in a holster, somewhere in your purse. I use this image in another video. If the gun's in the purse, the guy with the knife just got, well, a free purse, the contents of the purse, including the gun, the keys to your car, and I won't say it any more tactfully than this, he now has you. And this is the gold mine. This is the gold mine. A lot of people think they're ready. They're not. They're not ready for these guys. Because these guys don't play. They have been locked away for a good reason. Most of them. Especially that 10% I'm talking about. These 180,000 guys. All of you out there who are talking about, most people in prison are there for nonviolent drug offenses. Okay, let's take away the bottom 90%. You're still talking about 180,000 guys. That's an army. That's an army of guys that can bring a knife to a gunfight and win against most Americans. And funny story, putting all this together, remember this little thumbnail I did about the little tiny house that you could build basically on a tree and go escape the rest of the world and renounce your U.S. citizenship and just go live in the forest somewhere? Maybe a group of people that has a camp that can keep moving from place to place to place to place to not be found? Florida Maquis, why would I want to do that? I'm a proud American citizen. Really? You might want to check that for a minute. Trump taps Palantir to create master database on every single American. Yes, that's right. You see, now that they know who everybody is, they know who is and who isn't a citizen, who is and who isn't working everywhere, in every county, in every city. And they'll then be able to track everything you do and everything you say and maybe everything you think using AI, and then just basically deport you to anywhere they want to based on anything they say, because there's no habeas corpus anymore. And it's all Mr. Trump's idea to do this. And if you think this idea about leaving America, or maybe not paying taxes or not being part of the system, is just my idea, once again, I will refer you to somebody I've been watching on YouTube since long before I was a YouTuber. I didn't even know being a YouTuber was a real thing for many years while Patriot Nurse was burning it up and doing a great job. Here's video number 1 of hers that I would like to share. It's a short based on another video, Leaving America, a patriotic choice. She talks about people leaving and why. Largely because of oppressive taxation, and this is from right about the same time as I was making the map videos. Title, Being a Good Little Taxpayer is Not Patriotic. What's the tie-in? What do these two things have to do with one another? Real simple. What pays for prisons? Taxes. That's right. Your tax money pays for all of the money that is spent on guards, money that is spent on maintenance and upkeep, and everything else that has to go along with all of these, basically what are just little cities. Little miniature cities of criminals. What happens when we go to a shutdown? Or at some point they decide not to raise the debt ceiling or whatever, something happens like this, and they don't have the money. They're going to have to let them go. And the poorer states, they're not allowed to hold them and not feed them. They're not allowed to hold them and not give them fresh water. They're not allowed to hold them and provide no medical care. And I know a lot of people are shaking their heads. This thing in Louisiana is the tip of the iceberg. 11 guys walked. They all got out through the same hole. They scaled a wall. They crossed an interstate. 11 guys in prison uniforms ran across an interstate. Nobody reported it. I'll say this again. 11 guys created this master plan where they ripped out a toilet, escaped through one wall, then scaled another, and nobody even knew anything about it or reported anything for 8 hours. Now that many of these guys have been caught, I think it shows that they just didn't do enough planning. It was just a failure of long-term planning. And that's the big problem. One guy got caught on facial recognition security camera just ambling around in downtown New Orleans. But this won't be the last one. When they get help from the outside, more people have already been arrested for helping these guys on the outside than the total amount of guys here. That's going to be the key. This was a dry run, folks. This is a dry run. It's going to get ugly. And it's going to get ugly quick. So, be prepared. Ladies, for sure, be prepared. Be ready. Just having it in your purse ain't going to get the job done. These guys are quick. They're strong. They're much quicker, much stronger than the average guy on the street. They're much more dangerous. They're killers. And they can make a weapon out of anything. So have your mind right when you're out. Have your mind right, because places that were safe aren't going to be. Like I said, if you'd like the non-PC version of this video, join us. Florida Maquis Patreon channel. All the links are down in the description. God bless. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.